I want to conclude the section with one other built-in structural directive which might be handy from time to time, ngSwitch. Imagine the case that we have a value like this, which is simply 10. Anything you want. Now we got a place in our app where this value changes. And we got a couple of different messages we want to display for each of these values. For this, we can use ngSwitch. So let's add a new div here below our paragraphs with our own attribute directives. And ngSwitched is used like this. We bind to ngSwitch with property binding, so no star at this point, and we bind to value. So this is our condition basically, what we want to check. And then you might be aware that switch has a couple of cases we can now cover. So let's say we have a paragraph where we say value is 5, then we have the same for 10, then we have the same for 100, and maybe for default. Now we need to add something to these paragraphs to control which paragraph gets shown, because it should only be one of these at a time. That something is ngSwitch case. And we simply pass the value for this case here as an argument, for example, 5. And we need the star at the beginning. That's super important. So here the star comes into play again, because behind the scenes, this is then also transformed by Angular. So now we can use this here for the other two use cases too, with 10 and with 100. And finally, for the default case, we have ngSwitch default, like this. Now here, we also need to add the star, of course. With this in place, if we save this, we only see 10 here. And if I go to my component and I change this to 5, like this, then of course we see 5. So this is ngSwitch, super easy to use, might be useful in some cases where you find yourself creating a lot of ngIf conditions. ngSwitch might be the better solution in such cases. So that is structural directives finished, and that is directives overall finished. You learned a lot about them, and I hope this knowledge allows you to create awesome directives for your applications in cases where the built-in ones aren't everything you need, even though these already cover a lot of the default use cases, to be honest. So let's move on. Let's add a directive to our recipe book in the next section, and then let's move on in the course. See you there.